Yeah. Okay. Tell her happy birthday. Yeah. How old is she? 3. All right. Very good. Well, good. Tell her happy birthday. Yeah. That's great. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Well, deep subject. Yeah. Time to get going.
It's not like I give you enough time anyway.
No kidding. No kidding. Man, our clock is way off. That's about right. Well, we, Yeah, it is. It is. Seems like we're a little thinner than usual, but as usual, refusing to coalesce into a easier to see group. Yeah, we're a little thin. It's a compliment. What's not a compliment is that you're still spread out if anybody wants to sit up here, that'd be fine. Y'all could do that too. Rob, you want to sit up here somewhere? No. It's a good thing I don't have a crick in my neck. It'd be challenging. All right, we're in 1 John chapter 5. We are finishing up today the series that we've been in. Next week, I believe Larry, you're in here next week, right? Proverbs. So Larry will be taking over for class next week, teaching Proverbs, and then Dave, you're across the hall, First Thessalonians. All right, you got 2 options for next week, and I will 100% believe its popularity. So wherever you're at next week, I'll know who your favorite elder is. I'm just kidding. All right, so we're wrapping up 1 John. You might have noticed that we really haven't said much about 1st or 2nd and 3rd John, unless you think back to the very beginning of class, and where we kind of talked about the idea of the 3-letter packet that probably rotated, where 3rd John really acts as 2nd John acts as a cover letter, and 3rd John is a personal attachment. So that's why we don't really get into those 2 very much. The meat is in what we call 1 John. What likely has happened is it is a letter that has been written to a group of churches, meant to be shared and almost read as though it's a sermon. And that's really how it reads. It reads more like a sermon than it does like most other letters. If you go look at 2nd and 3rd, they have more of the form of the letters. So 2nd John, probably a cover letter that accompanied this, and then 3rd John was likely a specific correspondence written to a particular church. But we did pull from those, if you remember, to get some clues, evidence as to what's likely been going on, as he mentions a few different things there. So today we finish up here in chapter 5, and it feels like nearly every Sunday I have alluded to the 2 passages that show up here in chapter 5. And I've been saying all along, but we'll say more about that when we get to it. Well, we're getting to it finally today. But that's one of the I would say drawbacks when you read any of these letters and you approach them and study the way we have, is sometimes, at least I feel like when I teach, it's rehashing a lot. But it's because these were meant to be taken in at once, to be read as a whole, and we tend to break it down and go through it piece by piece. And so it's important to kind of continually remind ourselves or hold before us, what was this letter intended to do? What was he trying to accomplish with it? And just like whenever you learn anything, it's good to learn by repetition. We've seen a lot of that as we've read through this letter. John really hovering around the same ideas, hammering them home again and again and again. Sometimes I wonder if we don't do a slight disservice at times in the way we tend to do things, where you get one message in the sermon, and then you get a couple of different classes doing very different things, and then Sunday nights or connect groups are something completely different, and then Wednesday nights are then again completely different. But when you learn, at least for me, it takes like a hammer, right? And it's like repetition over and over, and it's how we teach our kids. So when you read through these letters, it's really hard. It's like not every class or every section is going to be some completely new, mind-blowing idea. He's making a point in as many ways as he can make that point. And that's what we've seen as we've looked at this letter. So there's a new approach, though, that I think is interesting that we're going to see here in the first 5 verses of chapter 5. Still saying the same thing, but coming at it from a slightly different direction. And then there are 2 passages that we'll talk about that we've been kind of alluding to all along. So let's look at verses 1 through 5 of chapter 5. Everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ has been born of God, and everyone who loves the Father loves whoever has been born of him. All right, stop for a second. Is this new information? Is this? No, it's the same things he's been saying all along. By this, we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and obey his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. For everyone who has been born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? All right, not new information, but did you notice his slightly different approach to saying the same thing? What was it? All right, so he's moving into family, children language, being born again, born as children of God. So before he's talked about being children of the light, how you know that you're children of the light, those sorts of things. Now he's using this family language, being born again. But what else? What else did he mention or say in here that's really getting at the same thing he's been getting at, just in a different way? Previously, it's been, how do you know, right? This letter was written to assure them of how they know they have eternal life, how they know they're part of the kingdom of God. And what has it been? To have that assurity, what do you have to do? You have to love your brother. He's connected that to what his commandments are. Walking in the light. How can you love God? How can you say you love God, but you don't do anything for your brother in need? How can you choose to consider less or love less? He uses the word hate, but we've talked a lot about what that actually means. It means I'm going to choose to treat you in a different manner than the way God has treated you. All of this is evidence. If you can do these things, live like he does, love like he does, that's evidence of being children of the light. But he says something a little different here. Sean, you have a comment? Yeah, it's again, this is what he's been saying. To show your love for the Father, you're showing your love for others. Everyone who loves the Father loves those who follow him. But look at verse 2, saying the same thing but in a different way. By this, we know that we, what, love God, or something different? It's a different formula this time. By this, we know that we love the children of God. It's suddenly at the very end, he's like, it's almost as though like when I do things, I'm saying it one way over and over and over again, and sometimes I see like my kids just, they don't get it, and so you rack your brain for a different way to say the same thing. This is what this is. So this is how you know that you love the children of God. We've been told, love the children of God, love the children of God, love the children of God. By this we know that we love the children of God. When we do what? When we love God and keep his commandments. All right, how does that strike you? How do you hear that? What does that make you think about when you read it that way? Anything different? Or yeah. And to me, there is an element of definition that comes into play. And we've talked about this, and when we think about the word love, and of course, when he talks about love, what word is he using? He's using agape. And what does the word agape mean? Yeah, all right, seeking another's highest good. Okay, so even that, agape, Greek word, Hellenistic word, seeking another's highest good. What word within that sentence is open to debate? Seeking the other's highest good. High is high. High is high, but what do we mean by good? Okay, so to seek another's highest good, take for a minute that we're looking at that as a Hellenistic word. It's not inside a religious context. What could be meant by that? To seek another's highest good. All right, the best for that person. Advancement for them. What? Happiness. All the way from the AV booth. And happiness is extremely subjective. What makes me happy is to watch the Colts demolish the Steelers this afternoon. That might not make many Steelers fans happy. Sorry, guys. I'm getting that from the Schaefers over there. So the word good is subjective. The word good is subjective. And much road can be made on what that word means. And if I am going to behave towards you in a manner that is for your highest good, if the word good is left up to my interpretation, what kinds of sideways, bent ways can that happen? I can decide all kinds of things about how your life ought to be, and I can create, through force even, all kinds of means to make you adhere to my version of what your highest good is. You see where I'm going here? Yeah, it's all subjective. So what does John do in reframing what he's been saying all along? What does he do? How do you know that you're agape, seeking the highest good of the children of God? How do you know? What gives definition to what that looks like and what that means? When we do what? When we... Yeah, that's right. When we love God and obey His commands. I am not left to be the author of the definition of good for another person. Because, man, it can go squirrely in all kinds of ways. How do I know that I am truly loving another person the way I'm supposed to? If so much, and it does, we've seen this, so much depends upon how I treat another person and how I love another person. So much about our faith hangs on that. Then we better get that right. Jerry, you got something to say?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the greatest commandments, right?
Yeah.
Loving the Lord, our God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second, the physical manifestation of that. What does that mean? How do we love God? We do so by, in large part, by doing that, but also by loving our neighbor and ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he's also talking to a group of people here who've been listening to a false prophet.
Yeah.
When love all, serve all, everything's great.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Not so much. There is a standard. There is a, I think I might have shared this before, but I can't remember, so you guys will just pretend like I haven't. One of my favorite little games that I've played with college students or youth group before is have everybody sit around in a circle, and I get just a random object, pair of scissors, something like that, and I hand it around. It's like, I want you to tell me when you receive this object if this is crossed or uncrossed. And so it begins going around the circle, and I begin telling them if they're right or wrong. Crossed? No, it's uncrossed. Oh, man. And so they start, like, is it the way that it was handed to another person? Or is it the hand that they accepted the scissors from? Or if the scissors were upside down or the other way, or if they're open or unopened, or open and upside down. I mean, there are all these different random ways that they are trying to figure out whether these are crossed or uncrossed. And then finally, when everyone is upset, mad, or has started to figure it out, I reveal what the solution is. Anyone, any guesses? If you remember me saying this, you can just say it. It's how they were sitting, if their legs were crossed or if they weren't. All right. It's frustrating, but it's hilarious. So, next time you're sitting around with grandkids or whoever, do that to them. All right, but there's a point, right? The point is we have all these ways of trying to define actions and what's good, what isn't good, and we can be all over the place unless we have a sort of the foundation, the right rubric to understand, and that's what John's getting at. By this we know that we love the children of God, essentially when we're doing it like God did. When we are loving God and we're obeying, we're following, we're allowing Him to define our interactions, allowing Him to define the way we think about other people and the way we treat other people. And we've been saying that, right, all throughout this, to love the way He loved and to live the way He did. That's how we know. Verse 3 kind of spells this out. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments. And then he says something at the end of verse 3 that I can find challenging, and His commandments are not burdensome. Throughout His commandments, John has likened to love and the way we treat other people. And that we have to treat other people the way that Jesus did, the way that God did in sacrifice, the way that Jesus did in sacrifice. So think about this for just a second. Could you, I've asked this, can I, with confidence, state the end of verse 3? Commandments are not burdensome. Have you ever had a relationship, even within the church, that was burdensome? They can be challenging. They can be challenging. So how do we understand this? These lights, I'm telling you, someone who feels like he moderately has ADHD, they get me off track all the time. I'm like, squirrel! Look at them. All right. How do we get our heads around that? The truth of this statement, because I believe it is true. This command isn't burdensome. What is meant by that? What's the idea about that, do you think? Yeah, I mean, they can be challenging to follow. They're simple to understand, but I think they can be challenging to follow. How do we understand that command of loving others the way God loved to not be burdensome? Let me just give you what I think, because we're fastly running out of time. When you are at odds with another person, there's an argument, there's dispute, there's bitterness, there's whatever, there's stuff going on, there's grudges you're holding on to, so on and so forth. How much peace is in your life? Not a lot. It's more burdensome to hold on to the things that divide, right? Whether it's personality conflicts, whatever it might be, it is more burdensome to carry bitterness and grudge and anger and all of those. It eats you up. That is burdensome. What isn't burdensome, it may be challenging and it may be difficult, but you're not carrying a heavy weight, is to pursue holiness in your relationships with your brothers and sisters. To pursue any angle, any avenue, any activity that brings about reconciliation and forgiveness and even just learning to show patience to someone who just tries your patience. Moving past the I love them to I'm actually beginning to like them too. That's why I think we can confidently say these commandments aren't burdensome. They're challenging and they're difficult, but your life is much less burdened if you are able to love in this way. And Carol?
Sometimes we're so enamored by our own opinion, and we think everybody ought to have the same opinion. Well, if it's just an opinion, get over it.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to have the same opinion, and they may grow into a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I may grow into a different way of thinking.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard what Carol said, but differences of opinion and thinking that your opinion is much better than somebody else's. And her words are, get over that. get over that. Okay, let's keep going here. For everyone who has been born of God overcomes the world. Man, we could stop there and make a really long conversation out of this. This is in reference back to John chapter 16 and verse 33, where Jesus talks about having peace in the world because he has overcome. And if you think back, if you remember all the way back, who knows, a year ago it feels like, to when we were in John chapter 16, we talked about peace isn't necessarily the absence of any kind of conflict that's happening, because Jesus is overcoming the world isn't going to lead to just universal Pax Romana peace. It's a different kind of peace that goes beyond worldly circumstance and happiness to the joy that suffuses a person's life, and knowing what it means that God has overcome and that we have overcome through him. So I think a better way to understand what Jesus was talking about in overcoming the world, and that we now, in 1 John 5:4, those who have been born of God overcomes the world, is more this idea that we have risen above the world's ability to taint or influence our life, no matter what happens. Or at least that is what has been offered to us. To overcome the world and have that peace, that victory that is offered to us by our faith, it comes in knowing that nothing that happens to me in a happiness frame of mind can remove me or separate me from the love of God. That nothing that transpires in my life has the ability, unless I give it the ability, to remove me from the hand of God. The victory that we have overcome is the victory over the world's influence on us. Should we rely upon God? I think that's what he's getting at, that our faith, our belief in him, and our following in his steps gives us victory over all the other influences that can come at us. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes who Jesus is, that Jesus is the Son of God? All right, starting in verse 6, we'll read 6 through 12. And this is, we've referenced this. It's very confusing, and it almost seems as though he's taken a 90-degree turn from what he's been talking about. This is he who came by water and blood, Jesus Christ, not by the water only, but by the water and the blood. And the Spirit is the one who testifies, because the Spirit is the truth. For there are three that testify, the Spirit and the water